Well, welcome to our second video in this 5-video series. This video is going to be My Thoughts Do Not Mean Anything, which is lesson 10 from A Course in Miracles, which, if I didn't mention it before, is a spiritual... Do we have a copy of the book there that I can hold up? There we go. That's the book, one of the versions of the book. There's a white edition and there's also a sparkly edition, and I believe there's a black edition. That, and a book which has been brought forth for the Western mind predominantly to help bring a realignment or an understanding of the nature of man's experience of time and space, so that you can learn to make a better choice or better choices. The necessity for making the choice is unavoidable. It must be made. I have to make a choice for God, for the whole, for a better way, if you want. And that has to be because my way is shit. My way leads to nothing, just round and round in circles, and makes no sense and just brings chaos. And a chaotic mind spirals down into depression and contemplates suicide and all of that. So anyone who's dallied with such thinking, dark thoughts, will know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, this video is probably not really for you just yet, but feel free to watch on and you might learn something. But we're not really telling you anything you don't know. Like today's lesson, My Thoughts Do Not Mean Anything. We already know full well our thoughts don't mean anything other than the meaning that we've given them, and we cling to that meaning because we don't know what the meaning of life is fundamentally, and we've forgotten that. And the purpose of spiritual pursuit, whether you're a Buddhist or a Christian or a Hindu or a Jain or a Zoroastrian or a Sufi, is to reawaken the memory of what you are and where you are forever within your own mind, which is in there, I promise you. And that's what enlightenment or salvation or awakening is about. In the West, it's not a commonly understood theme, and is part of the reason why we're introducing these shattering lessons, these mind-shattering lessons, to you, so that you can begin to remind yourself of what it is you already know. So lesson 10, My Thoughts Do Not Mean Anything. And the lesson makes a distinction between what are your real thoughts and what thoughts are unreal. And if you're living from a fearful premise, I can simply offer it to you this way, in that God, which is love, is everything, therefore can have no opposite. Now, in our experience of ourselves as human beings, we find ourselves in a situation where the opposite to love seems to be fear. But if God is everything and God is what reality is, then fear can't possibly exist. And so the idea that we have fearful thoughts or thoughts about ourselves which have foundations in fear, which is what the physical nature of life is, good and bad, those thoughts can't possibly have any reality to us. And in fact, if we are honest, we don't need to listen to our thinking at all in order to get through our day. You might put on a shirt and say, well, my thoughts told me what colour shirt to put on, but you're always going to put on that shirt anyway. I don't know if you can hear that from me, you know, because we're conditioned to thinking that our thoughts actually mean something. So here's Dean and Michelle again with lesson 10. And remember that these lessons are designed to help bring about a sense of inner peace and a way in which you can master your control or your acceptance of that sense of inner peace for yourself, to carry with you out in the world, in your relationships, in your job and everything else, as a true purpose for your human experience in your own endeavor to participate in the resurrection of man unto God, or salvation, or your own enlightenment process, however you want to term that as, or maybe you don't want to call it anything, that's fine too. But it's a mind training procedure that takes some amount of study and application before you begin to see the results of it pay off in your life. And I guarantee you that if you do the lessons exactly as they tell you to apply them, you will begin to see the results of it. And that may be shocking at first, it may be startling, it might be slightly concerning to you to hear that your thoughts don't mean anything. But as I said before, we're not telling you anything that you really don't know already. All right, take it away, Dean and Michelle.